So ever since then, I promised that if I saw a Zoom employee, like, they have employees with like the Zoom shirts walking around. If I ever saw someone with a Zoom shirt on like a plane, I'd just kick them off the plane. And that's not a threat. That's a promise. I just really hate Zoom. I hate Zoom with all my heart. But let's make this a positive learning experience, right?
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4. Today we're going to be talking about customer experience and more importantly, Mitch's experience with Zoom, the human behind the machine, products we may want to build in the future, and the framework competition. You're going to get to be the judge of some of our designs. Let's get into it.
Speaking of quality issues, can I tell you a little
Yeah, go
story
ahead.
first? Yeah, can I?
Okay, go.
Okay, so I went to go download episode 3 from Zoom, like the recordings that go to the cloud. That's where we store all the things. So we don't want to have the storage on our computer. Like, I don't need that.
Because you don't use
And
zip drives anymore, right?
I don't know what a CD is. I don't know what all that shit is. So I store it to the cloud because that's what we do nowadays in the hip millennial era. And when I went to download it, the file was much smaller than usual, and the quality was half the quality. And I know we just both got Opal cameras, and they're amazing quality. But then I'm like, why is this not working? And it turns out that there was some sort of issue with Zoom where it reduced the quality. So for those who are listening, you're probably not going to see the podcast until we can get pretty good quality. And maybe the first couple episodes won't be videos; they'll just be audio. And we do want to eventually have YouTube videos of the podcast stuff too. So eventually we're going to get all of the video stuff up, but we want to at least get the backdrops good and whatever and make it look pretty so people can actually enjoy watching us, not just listening to our beautiful, sexy voices. But I was, I was really mad. I was like, what the hell? Like, we have HD set on the desktop app. What's going on? And so the whole reason why I'm telling you this is actually really important. So I contact them and I'm furious. I am so mad because this is the second time something horrible has happened to the quality of something that we really need to be high quality. And this woman named Rebecca,
Yes.
but I'm sure it's not her name. I'm sure they have like a pseudonym or something, like some sort of anonymous like code name or something. Rebecca, which now I've created a relationship with, and I want to explain a little bit more about this. So
All right, go.
I contacted her. I have the whole chat saved, so maybe we'll like release it. But I was like coming in, I'm like, this sucks. I'm so mad. I'm like trying to like get a hold of somebody, and no one's even helping me. And then when I finally get to you, you don't understand the problem. I'm so mad. I can't get my quality. I just recorded something. So I'm going off on this girl in the chat, right? So if you know Zoom, you have to pay a premium for certain features, but then you have to pay an additional premium if you want like phone call service, which is ridiculous because that's like baseline for every product. You can call them or like most of them just email. The second level is like chat, which is like live, in real time. And then the third is like you speak to somebody, you hear their voice, and you have like that more of a connection with them. And the fourth would be like video chat, or even have them come in person because you can see their body language. So I'm on chat with this person, and she is like trying her best to help me. She's like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And she goes, "Oh, here's the problem. You set HD on the desktop app, but you didn't set HD to the cloud, like the website." And I was like, "Wait, so you're telling me in the settings of Zoom, if you set HD quality, it doesn't actually save it unless you go into the web version and click save as HD quality to the cloud?" So I lost my marbles. I went to
Okay. Wait.
yeah, okay.
No indication, no nothing in the UI. Like
The
no
UI had nothing, no user experience that actually indicates anything. No notice, no information, no information icon that like you can hover over and or click, and then it has like a popover. Nothing. It just says, HD. That's all it says, HD, and then checkbox. So I clicked it, and
So
and
the person that
yeah.
did the user testing on that, then they, like you would expect
Okay,
this not
let's
to
be
happen.
real. They don't do user testing. Period. They can't. There's not. You can prove it because you can see how bad the quality is of Zoom and how everyone hates it, right? But I hate it for many reasons, and I'll tell you another story about that in a minute. But this is all going to lead to something really
Okay.
important. So finally, she's like, "I can enable it for you automatically, whatever." And I was just I was steaming. I was like, just like vomiting anger on this poor woman in a chat. And then I go to namecheap.com. Shout out to our not sponsors, Namecheap, and I buy the domain zoom.com. And I screenshot that and I send it to her. And I'm like, I am so mad at you, but it's not really you. It's Zoom. And I'm sorry. And she goes, I totally understand. And then I said, the situation, why, kind of doing this. And she goes, oh, no, now I understand. But what are you kind of doing with this? I told her we're podcasting. And she goes, oh, that's cool. But you're like a designer or something? Because I mentioned that. And she goes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a designer, whatever. She goes, like designing bags, right? I'm like, no, like designing software, like Zoom. And she was like, oh my God, that's so cool. She goes, I want to go into the IT section of creating software and whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. This is cool chat. And then I sent her the cohort link to our Maven site. And she looked at it and she sent back a screenshot of my face. She goes, it's you. And I was like, oh, okay. She actually did go to it. I was just putting into the void, see if she would do it. I don't know if she signed up yet, or if she ever going to sign up. I don't think it's really something she wants to. But I created a relationship. I created a relationship with this person that I never met, never knew, don't even know her real name, probably don't even know her face, but she knows me and she knows my face and exactly who I am and we are. And she totally understands the problem. And I was like, I'm sorry again, like how mad I was. This is just really frustrating, the situation about it. She goes, like, don't worry. I really hope that it all works out for you. I totally understand. This is not uncommon, something to that degree. And I was like,
That's bad. If it's
I
not
was like,
uncommon, that's a
yeah.
problem.
I was like, I hope you get a raise because you really deserve it because people yell at you all the time. And I hope that you don't experience that very often. She goes, yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's pretty hard. And I was like, how
Oh,
often do you
really?
experience like people like this really
Yeah.
even worse than me, but on an average daily, like chat or like, during the week or whatever, what's the average? And she goes, I can't disclose information, but she didn't really leave me on like a positive note that it was going very good for them. And
No way.
so this was really interesting to me because she didn't reveal anything just unethical, but she was
Yeah.
trying to create a relationship to calm me down, which I think was the appropriate
Yep.
method for a support specialist. So
Yep.
kudos to Rebecca. But I know for a fact that they hate working there too. You
Wow.
can tell them, and I would totally release the conversation if I could. It's just like a big garbage like dump of like paragraphs of text, so it's not very useful. But it was really interesting and eye opening because then we talked about this briefly yesterday about the person behind the product and the people who support the product for the customers and the clients and the users and what they kind of go through. And that's something I think we should talk about. So ever since then, I promised that if I saw a Zoom employee, like, they have employees with like the Zoom shirts walking around, if I ever saw someone with a Zoom shirt on like a plane, I'd just kick them off the plane. And that's not a threat, that's a promise. And I just really hate Zoom. I hate Zoom with all my heart. But let's make this a positive learning experience, right?
Yeah.
Because there's also experiences like we've had, and you can also share that too if you want. But we had a wonderful experience with Opal support. They're amazing. They reach out, after you get the thing, the device. They help you with any issue, and like I said before, they actually refunded me for the Opal because I was upgrading my camera and I wanted to return it, and they said just keep it, and we're still using it, which I think is really kind of them.
Yeah. And I think it's like, how far does design go? If you think about it, I
Hmm.
think, oftentimes designers are working at a feature level, especially in products. Like they only looking at this little piece of a feature, but they tend to not look at that end to end customer journey. And unfortunately, support probably falls into like, that's the thing we'll get to, but we never get to.
Yeah,
And how can FAQ sections are good and whatnot, but I feel it's something that's so important. It's important not to forget that behind products, there are humans, and how can we make our products more human? And that simple, even like going back to Opal, not our sponsor, love to have a sponsor, but that I, I feel, just that personal email from that individual who reaches out, talks about Opal a bit more. If there's anything you can reach out to me directly, like those little things. Obviously, when you're the size of Zoom, it may not be the same capacity of like that personality element, but it's these little things that I find we tend to over forget. We're stuck behind a screen all day long and we forget the human
Mhm.
behind all of these. And I think that's important to go back to that.
Well, you know what? You actually made a good point because that is exactly what people said about our cohort course, right? The same thing. We were able to build a relationship with people who were taking the course, and they felt like we were actually guiding them through, handholding them, and it made them feel better. It made them feel special. Really, that's what it did. Because we didn't treat them like a number, just like Zoom is treating me like a number, just like other enterprises, big companies, even some small companies do the same thing because they just can't manage it. But when you talk about like companies like Opal, for example, or Zappos is a very famous one. I've never experienced support from them or I bought any products from them, but I hear good things about them and how their culture
Yeah.
allowed them to build a great support system. But for Opal to reach out and have that human connection, right? That's so important, and you feel better. So let me ask you this question: what is your reaction to Opal as a company now? Because they help kind of reach out and give you that extra little human touch, and they helped me solve a problem, and they just they were like no hard feelings. Like, doesn't that make you feel good, and you want to talk more about them?
100%.
Yeah,
It's also in a way that I would want to support them, even if, you know, it
yeah,
didn't work out for round one, let's say hypothetically. If they were to reach out with an improved camera and improve things, I'd give it a go again because
hmm
they went above and beyond. And I think
hmm
that's the part where we tend to lose in many in outside product. But I feel in many situations we don't go there. We forget that. Even like like you mentioned, like what we did or what we do like in our courses and things like that, ensuring that we are there after the course is completed as well. We don't, it's not a one and done, whatever that's the expression, but you know what I mean.
right.
It's like, it's being that human and being humble about it, that people may have additional things and being there for them for real. I mean, the individual you spoke to at Zoom, I'm sure she's doing her best. She's
Oh
within
yeah,
the constraints of the company. She,
yep.
she did what she had to. Unfortunately, there are issues. It happens and there's no perfect product. But I think if we're able to at least have that support be very strong, I think it's this key indicator of potential success that's going to be there.
hmm Yeah, I think that people need to really consider not just having an FAQ as your support. I get it. Like if you're like a 1, 2 person team, you can't really respond to every email. I get it.
No,
It's not easy. I think that a really good idea for a product, I don't even know if this exists, but a decentralized version of support. So hear me out. I think we've spoken about this before. Here's a cool idea that maybe we can make one of the websites out of, which we'll talk about in a minute. But what if like you had your customers be your support and you paid them? So you had like a tokenized economic model that allowed them to earn money by helping other people with the product because they've used it so much that they're actually experts in it. And you don't have to hire a whole separate team and train them. They can train, you can like give them some material to train them, but for the most part, they're self-taught.
it's an awesome idea, but she just gave out a great idea away.
But building in public, man. That's how we're
I
doing
know,
it.
but it reminds me of what's that website? It was originally built for just developers, and it was like a community run where developers would answer questions and not Reddit, but something. I'll find the website again. Same model, same element, but I feel the fact that
Stack Overflow.
Stack Overflow. That's it. It's the same business model, but you tokenize it, so there's an incentive,
Yeah.
and people like the top people who recommend the most, like they're gonna want to be good because maybe they're going to be referred, and I think there's a system that can be built into this,
Yeah.
and it's great, but it's like shouldn't support just be basic? Like, can we if we're at a point where we have to pay for stuff, even support, are we like missing something?
Well, I'm actually saying that the company pays the people who are supporting the customers. So,
Oh
like,
yeah, they become evangelists of the company.
exactly, they become evangelists and they get paid based on like almost like a bounty system, maybe like, oh,
Yep.
whoever can fix this first or grab it, whatever.
Yep.
I think that would be a really great way to help. Also, make people money who need a job and just want to not really go to an office or anything. But I think there's a lot of opportunity there. But I also think that support, you have to have one thing that makes support so good, and that's that you actually have to care. And working at other companies that we have before, especially previously, I was working in like a support specialist kind of part of the company, not as a support specialist, but supporting the support specialist by building tools internally. They get their ass handed to them every day from customers, and especially when it has to do with their money.
Well,
People, yeah.
I think that's understandable though, because if you're about to open a big position, you're about to dump a big lump sum and something doesn't happen, that person could be either losing a lot of money or being scared that that's
Mhm.
going to go into like the ever land.
Yeah, like there's a couple things that people get funny about. It's money and family. And that's when you get weird responses and stuff, and people have
Yep.
more reactive
Uh-huh.
responses, for example. But if you're going to be, in a support specialist role, I feel bad because number one,
Oh,
you're going to get the shit
I
from
don't want to get
everyone.
that.
Oh, I hate it. But, especially as founders, we would have to do that for a while, at least for a while, because we need to understand what people are saying and we need to hear it ourselves and not through a second hand
Yep.
and have it distilled, kind of like a watered down version of it. We need to make sure we're understanding the feedback and also capturing it in real time, not just like at the end of a quarter, which unfortunately that's what happens at bigger companies.
I know, but let me add, like, flip it. Do you think that uh, originally everybody wants that support to be really, really, really awesome? Does it, once you get too big, is that when you kind of lose that momentum or on like the non capabilities of keeping that alive?
So you would think that because of their bigger companies, they have more resources and they can dedicate that to better support, which is unfortunately the contrary in a lot of cases, at least that I've experienced. And I think the reason for that is people like to systematize things. They create systems out of things to
Yes.
become efficient. And here's maybe something that we should write more about and talk more about too. The opposite of good design is not bad design. The opposite of good design, in my opinion, is efficiency.
Mhm.
Not
Uh,
that this good design can't be efficient, but that efficiency is a core value that people try to strive for, and they actually end up making things worse. So it's like really bureaucracy in another sense of it, but efficiency because everyone's trying to create systems that speed things up, that allow for the answers to already be there, but then they make it robotic. They make the solutions robotic, the care, the detail, the just the communication very robotic, and it has a negative effect. So big companies, they have like FAQ pages, whatever. Everyone has that, whatever. But when you get like you have to submit a ticket, there's a protocol that they have to follow,
yep.
and sometimes that protocol is so rigid that they have to escalate the issue after like 2 weeks of trying not to, they go back and forth and trying to solve it, but it doesn't happen. That to me is why it doesn't work. Now, I don't know what they can do to solve it yet because, you and I have not actually been in that position yet where we actually have to deal with support and hire people for
Mm.
support yet. I know we're going to, but we're not at that stage yet. And that's just really hard. I don't know the answer to that. Do you have any like suggestions for that?
No, because I haven't been through it yet. So it's
The
kind
only
of,
thing I can say is care. You gotta care.
I know, but that I feel like kind of have a feeling that everybody does that when they start.
Do
Everybody
they?
has, yeah. Well,
Really?
I think so.
I think people really don't like dealing with customers.
I think too, there's like, especially in tech, people sometimes come up with an idea to a problem,
Mhm.
but don't think of the rest because they're not specialized in that. They only want to fix that, either from a developer or from a designer perspective. So when they create it, they're not thinking beyond anything else, but finding that problem. But or, creating a solution to that problem. But then it scales. Then you got to think of all the other, like that marketing aspect, the branding, the product itself, the UI, the support. And I think oftentimes you can't, you don't think of all these elements.
Okay. Well, let's maybe switch gears a little bit to
This
the
is the other,
thing, the other thing, the other thing.
the other thing I wanted to,
Which do you want to go to next?
I wanted to talk about the tools
Okay,
because
we'll talk
it's
about the
something
tools.
that I find interesting, and many people have so many different opinions on this,
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna have a. I
No, no,
have
that
a big opinion on this.
we all have opinions, and that's okay. But I feel, and I'm not going to have a right or wrong or a pro or a con. If you look at everything that happened when Figma got bought out, is it finalized? I don't know. Disregarding that aspect, people
Mm,
lost their marbles, right? And I understand because they've spent so much time creating workflows and components and everything else. They've spent so much time in that, and they're scared that if the other company takes it over, it's going to remove everything that they've built. On
yeah.
the flip side, I get that. On the flip side, you know, being in design for a long time or even a short time, software has changed a lot. It changes often, right? Whatever we used to do 5, 10 years ago is not the same software we do now. Like some are still using Adobe to design whatever, like Photoshop to design what they do. Like it's okay. But I think being in this space, we're used to change. We're used to doing a lot of this. And I feel if we only get so much attached to a specific product, are we not painting ourselves in a corner? Because how we used to be so attached to Sketch, all of a sudden, Figma came along and changed the
Mm,
game.
mm.
Something else is going to come along and change the game again, in my opinion. So I think, are we, okay, I'll pause there.
Okay. The answer to the question is yes. Something has already can't come along and change the game, and I want to actually show you a little snippet of what it is. So Chat GPT, for those who don't know, it's a AI model created by OpenAI, an organization that's producing these amazing, insane capabilities through AI to be very creative.
Which is
And
scary.
it can be very scary. You can embrace it or you can fear it. And you can fear it and embrace it at the same time,
That's what I was going to say.
which I think is what we're going to do.
I'll do both.
So I want to read you something that I was able to get Chat GPT to produce. Well, actually, there's two things. Number one, I asked it, because I saw it on Twitter, I asked it to create the Mona Lisa with P5JS, and
No.
it created a really funny looking vector HTML or not HTML, P5JS code thing. It's like really funny looking.
Okay,
But
I gotta see.
but the essence of it is quite impressive in how it actually did it. It's funny because it didn't actually do it, but it actually knew that I wanted a person's face, and it has the same emotion as the Mona Lisa. So I'm like, all right, so it's pretty close. It's funny because it's like completely off. It doesn't look anything like it. It's just like an oval with like two eyes and like a mouth.
Yep.
But it did it. The other thing I did was I said, and I want to share this with you. Write a newsletter in the style of Sean Purry for the subject, what makes a great customer support experience? I also did one that
Ooh.
said, can you write a newsletter in Justin Welsh's style to teach people how to design a better portfolio?
I gotta see how it turned out.
So I will say that whatever they're using, they do have some sort of structure that they've kind of come across, and it's evident that it's just repurposing something, because the end of it was almost identical to both of those essays. But let me read you the Justin Welsh Design a Better Portfolio. I said, can you write a newsletter in Justin Welsh's style to teach people how to design a better portfolio? ChatGPT responded and said, sure, here is a potential newsletter in Justin Welsh's style on how to design a better portfolio. Hey there. Are you looking to improve your portfolio and showcase your work in the best possible light? If so, you're in the right place. As a designer, your portfolio is often the first thing that potential clients and employers see. So it's important to make a strong impression. A well-designed portfolio can help you stand out from the competition and demonstrate your skills and abilities. Here are some key tips for designing a better portfolio. Number 1, and these are, not bad. I don't think they're like novel, but number 1, start, and this is something we say, start by identifying your target audience and what they're looking for. This will help you tailor your portfolio to showcase your work in the most relevant and appealing way. Number 2, keep your portfolio simple and easy to navigate. Avoid clutter and unnecessary elements that could distract from your work. Number 3, choose a clean, modern design that reflects your personal style and type of work you do. Number 4, use high-quality images to showcase your work. Consider using professional photography or retouching to make your portfolio images look their best. Number 5, include a mix of different types of work in your portfolio, including projects that demonstrate your range and versatility as a designer. And last but not least, number 6, don't be afraid to experiment and try new things with your portfolio design. Keep an open mind and be willing to make changes as needed. By following these tips, you can create a portfolio that effectively showcases your work and helps you stand out from the crowd. So why not get started today and take the first steps towards building a better portfolio? Best, Justin Welsh. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like him.
It doesn't sound like him. And I'll show you the end of the other one I wrote. I had it right.
That was spit out in
Yeah.
there is pretty much generic of what you're going to find if you Google any of this.
Well, let me just read the last
Okay.
sentence of last 2 sentences of the other essay so that you can see how similar they are. So the other one was write a newsletter in the style of Sean Purry from the My First Million podcast for the subject, what makes a great customer support experience? And it did the same exact format. It said like a little introduction, follow these tips, and then it had the tips, and then it said at the end, by focusing on these 3 factors, you can improve your overall quality of your customer support experience and provide a better experience for your customers. That doesn't make any sense because it's the same thing. So keep these in mind as you work on providing customer support and see how they can help you deliver a truly great experience. Best, Sean Purry. So it has a format, like I said when I was introducing it, it has some sort of format it's using. It's not truly using the same language. I think it might also be because they toned down ChatGPT from having like abusive language or like rated R language.
Yep.
So that's probably part of it why it doesn't sound just like everyone, because they had to pull it back a little bit. I would love for it to be full on, like crank it all the way up to max level 10.
But could also be that it's
yeah.
currently learning. It's currently adapting and learning, and it's gonna potentially get there.
Oh yeah, it's on its way.
But you know what I mean? It's like maybe if we ask the same question in 3 months, it's gonna be closer to what our expectation would be.
Well, from what I was told, I'm not sure if this is true, ChatGPT is actually GPT 3.5. So it's like in the middle of being GPT-4 and 3, and they're using it they're training the AI right now so that GPT-4 will be amazing. That's what I was told.
Scary.
But I could be wrong. That could be completely inaccurate information, so don't use me as a source. But I think it goes a lot with our topic of tools. So why don't you kind of maybe riff on, do you think that is something that is going to affect like us designers? Because like, we're writing newsletters and doing a podcast. This could all eventually be AI generating the podcast, generating the newsletter, generating the content, generating the courses. It's coming. It's coming up soon. So like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's gonna get hard. I was reading I forget who I was reading up on Twitter, but they were talking about this aspect. And I think it's going to become hard to differentiate yourself from others. Like if you want to standing out, because
Isn't it already hard?
it already is, but you can kind of feel the tone of voice in a lot of people. I think
Yeah.
people are going to start using this AI thing to create content as much as they can. And
Yeah.
that's going to start resembling the same thing. So it's going to become even more important to be really like on point with what you're
Hmm.
saying and like having your tone of voice. In terms of design, I think it's gonna start off as being sort of like a right hand man at one point where it's gonna help you
Yeah.
design some things. It's gonna help, I think, people who have an idea to
Hmm.
generate an outcome and an output to help them speed up a potential idea, right? Like we can go and design it. Somebody that may not be able to design or doesn't have the chops may not require to hire somebody who's going to be able to use that.
True.
Is it going to fully replace that right away? Nope.
No. No.
I think it won't right away. I think there's, and it, I think it, I kind of feel at one point we're going to go back and have like that purest abs- abstract of things where AI is going to be good, but it's never going to be like, never is a big word, but I feel like it won't be the same as a purist, right? Somebody that has that touch. And I wonder, this is more of a wonder. I wonder if it's going to get to that point one
Hmm.
day where it's like the people that are still good at drawing,
Yeah.
people that are still good that you can feel like that human perception behind it. Is that going to be the change? Because people are the like, or the other people that are really good with the software, I think they're going to use AI to help them in the way, and they're going to work with it and not against it. I think that's
Augmented
augmented.
intelligence. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think we're going to need to do that. I think there's going to be a movement or momentum shift that there's going to be people that work with it and people that are totally against it and they're
Yep.
purists. It's going to almost like like people are going to want the purist side of things. Are they like obviously? Well, they're going to be outnumbered by the AI. I kind of see a potential for both. Your take?
I think you're absolutely right in the sense that it's going to be slowly but surely towards one direction where it's going to start out by being, kind of stupid, which it is, and then it gets kind of good where it can help augment our work. But then I do think that it's going to replace a lot of our roles. Because like for example, illustration out the door, right? Like that's already being taken over much sooner than I think anyone thought. AI can now create imagery that is fictional, completely fictional on its own in whatever style you desire and include whatever you want, anything. And it only takes 15, 20 seconds. Like,
I know.
yeah, that role is now, I wonder what illustrators think, because I'm not an illustrator, but like if I saw a machine do the exact same thing I did, if not better, because I'm not a good illustrator, I would be shaking in my boots. But if an illustrator goes, oh, wait, now I can make more illustrations faster? Oh, hell yeah. I think that they would take advantage of that, but then they're not really illustrating. They're like operators of illustrations. So all of our roles are going to change very soon from being creative. I think someone said this like, uh, not really creating the ideas, sorry, not really executing the ideas, but really creating them and
Yes.
letting the machines take care of the rest. But I wonder, we have now really great models that create great language outputs, so like or text outputs. We have now models that are really great at creating images that are getting better at drawing hands and feet than any human can, because I know that's like really hard to do. I do try to do that. It's not easy. But right now they're pretty bad. They're going to get better though. So I wonder then, an idea that I had, and I spoke to many people at IBM about, and everyone actually doubted this idea, which I was very surprised about. I talked to a lot of the experts, and they told me you can't use AI integrated into a design system to build products. You can't do that. But I really think you can. And I think that what could happen is another tool we can maybe do is it's a tool that lets you produce a number of options to choose from, right? As a vast understanding of interfaces, it
Hmm.
can go through a whole bunch of compositions, understand what composition might convert the best, and then prioritize the elements based on what the user's needs are. So if the user needs to search for something, maybe that element gets raised higher up on the screen than, say, the filtering mechanism or something like that. So,
And I think like if you think of a systems point of view, you could almost like A/B test live
mhm,
in
mhm,
like thousands of people right there, right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
or ideas. I think too that systems are going to be able to be utilized through AI. If you think of if if it's pulling from a series of pre-built components, I don't see why it could not,
Hmm.
because it's going to analyze other products and it's going to mimic a lot of different things. It's going to learn. It's going to adapt.
I feel like that's what Diagram is working on. You know, that plugin Diagram,
Yep.
that team. I think that's what they're working on, a tool that lets you plug into a design system and output like you type it in and it just produces it. But like, how much easier would that be than fiddling with Figma auto layout?
Well, yeah, even systems. I mean,
Actually, I'm
like,
not sure AI can handle auto layout in Figma. Sorry, I don't think it's possible.
yeah, but even beyond that, if like how many people use a system wrong, or how many people can't even use the right component in the right place?
Well, honestly, too many. And the answer is too many. I think you and I both know that, but I do think that you know it. It's going to come a time where we don't really need to know anything. We just need to know. Well, I guess we really won't need to know anything. We'll just be able to produce ideas and just let machine decide for us. In some cases, I think that's kind of scary though, because you're letting machines make decisions that humans used to do every
Yep.
day, every minute, every second. And with, Neuralink, Elon Musk's like, Matrix plugged to the back of your head, plus AI stuff, plus,
Yeah.
you know, we're going towards a pretty scary dystopian era, which I hope that we're prepared to put up against, put up a fight against, because it's not going to be easy to let go of being human. And it sounds like we're just going to become robots. We're going to, that's honestly what it sounds like, to be honest.
Some like that, that
Some
approach.
do.
I don't like
Well, some people
nothing.
are like already robots.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Like, they're
like,
plugged into the matrix very deeply.
exactly. Most people don't actually have original ideas.
They don't think.
They don't think. They just listen to what others are saying. They copy it because they don't want to feel bad. They want to feel virtuous. They want to feel like they're, a part of the good part of history, whatever you call it, the good side of
Mhm.
history, which I think is ridiculous. But, you should do it because it's a good thing. You should do it because it's right. And, you know,
So
I
is it
yeah.
going to take away from creativity almost, right?
Well, I
Because
think it's going to go further than that. I think it's going to take away people's rights.
I know that. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to go down that rabbit
We
hole,
won't
but
go down that rabbit hole, but for creativity, yeah, I think it's gonna unlock a new type of creativity. Like you're gonna be able to think of new things because right now you're limited towards what you can actually create. You can tell people your ideas, but now they have children's
yeah,
stories being produced in real time with AI. So like as you write the children's story, it produces the imagery next to it, which is beautiful, and that shows you how fast it can kind of be, made. Imagine if you had a product idea that would solve a problem, like, and you had a 3D printer that could print whatever you were, giving the model of. So like the AI can produce a model of like a prosthetic foot or hand or something, and you can say it, and then the 3D printer will print that, and then it's already built. Like that's really cool. That's a really cool future to live in. How far can that be pushed, and what will be allowed to be created and what's illegal and what's not? That's a whole different ethics discussion that I don't think we want to get into this podcast. But hey, just wanted to take a break to let you know about something Pascal and I are working on. We're hosting a free live cohort course on how to design a winning portfolio for creatives and user-centric practitioners. That could be you, maybe you, someone you know. Sign up on Maven by clicking the link in the description. And now, back to the pod. Why don't we take this time to switch gears to our other thing,
the framer competition.
the framework competition. So, actually, I didn't have time to write rules, so I was thinking,
Oh, we
better
don't.
yet, we'll do it on the podcast.
Okay, let's go.
So, for those who are listening or watching, I don't know if this is video yet. Pascal and I want to learn Framer. We want to get better at Framer, and eventually, we want to launch a course on how to teach, basically a course on how to build and design and launch wonderful, beautiful landing pages, websites, et cetera, et cetera. We want to create better web design and raise the standard for people creating such things. And I think both of us need to get better at that too. But I think that a really cool opportunity for us would be to launch fake ideas into the world using Framer and see what people think. But each idea we can compete on making the website for. So we can pick a topic and then we'll compete on who can make the best website for that, best landing page for that, and then have people vote. And then the winning vote, that's the one that gets put up, whatever. So there's a couple of ideas that I had in mind, and I'm sure you've been thinking about some yourself. And if not, no worries, there's plenty of ideas to build. But and especially due to recent events in my experience with software. So I think that we have an opportunity to kind of create and have fun with this.
Yeah.
And so here are the rules to the game. All right. So number one,
You're making it up right now.
I'm making it up on the spot, and feel free to add your own rules too.
Fantastic.
So let's have some rules. So number one, we have, I guess time frame should be a week because we're so busy. So in our spare time, come up with a website in a week, and at the end of the week we'll discuss, right? So we'll maybe change that time frame, but for now it's a week. Number two,
landing page or only a landing page?
Number two, the subject is to create a landing page. All right, so not building a full-fledged application, just a landing page. And you can mock up the application in the landing page, but you have to use two tools only: Framer and Figma. That's rule number three. You only use those two tools. You can't use anything else.
Okay.
So that way, you can use imagery and assets from other places. Oh, sorry. Let me add a third tool because I mentioned it today.
No.
Yeah. Spline.
I don't have time to learn.
You don't need to learn it. It's easy. I don't know how to use it either. It's easy. You don't have to do it, but then make a kick-ass website without it.
I know, but you're going to use it because you mentioned it. I got to go and learn it.
Because I have a really good idea in mind.
God, damn it.
So just ask the AI to do it, man.
I should. I'll pay a young kid to just go and do it.
Okay, fine. That works. You're allowed to pay off.
No, we can't.
We can't. No. We can't do that. So rule number three is you can use three tools.
Okay.
Framer.
Yep.
Figma and Spline, but it has to be viewable in Framer.
Okay.
Number four, you can use whatever other assets you want in it. So you can use like assets from images or like 3D models that have already been produced, or you can use, mock-ups or whatever. That's 4 rules. And what else? Is there any other rules you want to add?
I think that's a lot already.
I think that's a lot. Okay. Okay. So what are the stakes? Like, let's make it interesting. What are the stakes?
Okay. Best 3 out of 4? Best 2 out of 3?
3 out of 4.
Yeah, 3 out of 4.
I mean, we also can make little prizes for each winning instead.
No. What do we really want to? Okay, we need bragging rights or one for sure.
Okay.
What could be interesting as a prize?
Okay, so I'll say one prize. Okay, number one, the first prize is
Haircut.
you get the bragging rights of being the best web designer of the two of us.
I already am.
We'll see about that.
Okay.
We'll see about that. So whoever wins the last round will get that. So if I win the first one, then I get it. And then if you win the second one, then you'll get the trophy. So it kind of went back and forth. T-shirt?
I don't know. I'm just making it up.
Yeah, T-shirt. It's lame.
I know.
Let's see. Okay.
We need something funny.
Okay. Well, something funny or something serious?
Either or.
Because I was going to say, if you win best 3 out of 4, I will buy you a piece of equipment for your office, your studio, whatever you would build.
Up to a certain amount, though.
Up to a certain amount.
We don't want to go too wild.
Less than 500.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay. Let's do that. So the winner gets a purchase of something 500 or less if they win 3 out of 4 from the other loser.
Okay. Okay. Now, do we go
I
for?
wish we got like a sponsor. They can sponsor us a product. Opal, come in with Opal too.
We can ask, and we can ask the products we wish that could do that. What products do we want to pick? The products now, or like the fake products now, or not?
Yeah. So I have a list of products that we can
Oh,
create.
look at you, come prepared.
Oh, I'm always prepared, my friend. So, number one. So I'm gonna write them down so that I don't forget the order of them, and also I don't forget and restate another one that I've already said. So,
Oh,
couple of things. So, uh, I bought ckzoom.com. So I was thinking one tool, one landing page we can create, one mock product could be a Zoom competitor that's local only. And by local only, I mean it stores the stuff to your device. So you have an external hard drive, whatever, and you can store it there because number one, it's private, it's yours. It's not like on someone else's cloud; they can kick you off whenever. But basically, it's for podcasting. So it's a tool that's a Mac app. It sits on your computer and it stores the files to your computer, but it records high quality video and audio, higher
okay.
quality and than whatever compression and crap that Zoom and the internet use, the rest of the internet tools use. Because I'm tired of using these web apps. I want like a native, functional, awesome thing. So that was one thing. So Zoom local client, we'll call it something different. And then the winner will get it put on fuckzoom.com.
That's awesome.
Uh,
And then we need
so
a sign up letter too, but
and then
we don't.
I'll let people sign up for that too.
No logos, no nothing though. Let's not
Correct.
spend more time
Correct.
already.
Yeah, you can just use whatever text you want. And if you want to add that, go for it. It's
No,
a nice touch.
no, no,
But
no, 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 no. A week is already short.
well, do what you can in the week and make it awesome. Number two, someone tweeted out something and they said they wish they had it for Figma, and it was a keyboard, like a little like pad that had just a couple of keys on it for shortcuts. So I was thinking for Framer and Figma, like a design tool, keyboard shortcut, little pad. So it's just like your keyboard, maybe just like the number keypad, but the keypad is dedicated toward design shortcuts.
Yep.
So I'll call it designer keypad shortcuts.
Now we're gonna need to get into 4D modeling and all that with that.
Well, you don't. So I was actually going to not even do 3D modeling for that, but now that you say it, I'm just kidding. I had an idea of what to do for it with 3D modeling, but I was actually going to render it originally in Figma because I can do, and maybe that's a course that we release how
Yeah.
to render things realistically in Figma, in Photoshop, whatever it
Yep.
is, because I have a really good styling for that, whatever, good eye for that.
Okay.
At least I've been told. So those are two ideas.
Yep.
Do you want to throw any ideas into the pot?
I don't have any ideas right
You don't
now.
have any ideas?
'Cause
Okay.
we talked about the ones from yesterday.
Yeah. There was
Um,
what else was there?
let's do the customer service one, the
Okay.
tokenized
Cool.
customer
I like that
service
one.
because I think
Tokenized.
that could be that can also be something real.
Yeah. So we have so let's back up. We have a piece of software, we have a physical hardware, and we have
SaaS.
essentially like a SaaS, like a
SaaS.
social network almost.
Now we need
Uh,
something else.
Want something else? Okay.
Yeah, we said 3 out of 4, so we need 4.
Okay. Fair.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's figure out. Oh no, because that could be the one. The coin's not something.
Well, it has to be out of
you want.
5 because if you win one and I win one and then I win one and then you win the last one, it's tied.
Okay, 5. We're giving it 5. Okay, 5.
We can come up with more later, but I think those are 3 that we can talk about at least on here. But let's start with those 3. See best 2 out of 3 first, and then if it goes well, then we'll keep doing it.
Okay, let's do that.
So cool. I love that. That's
When
gonna
are
be
we
so much
starting?
fun. I think we should start probably. Do you want to do after Christmas?
No, because you're going to start designing it before.
No, no, no. I won't start designing it. I'll start learning how to use the tools, but I won't start designing it.
Okay. Let's do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I'll
Cool.
need to go and download some YouTube videos.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So there's that. What's left on the list? So
That was it.
that was it. Just those 2 topics, 2 or 3 topics actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Sweet. Well then, let's wrap up. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks, Pascal.
Thanks, Steven.